Now, the Department of Trade and Industry says it's dealing with a high volume of applications for incentives offered to improve manufacturing capacity. It says over the last 3 years, the number of applications has skyrocketed, causing a massive backlog. The department's enhancement program provides a cash grant to companies planning to upgrade their machinery or buildings or invest in training. Well, with me, Garth Strachan is the Deputy Director General of Industrial Development Policy at the DTI. He joins me now. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Devin.
All right, so we've just seen the SADC summit there emphasizing industrialization. It doesn't help to have a backlog like this, though, does it? I mean, in the 3 years to January, 5.2 billion rand committed, only 1.6 billion rand paid out. What's causing the backlog?
Yeah, I think the department's a little bit victim of its own success. In the last financial year, I think we paid out somewhere in the region of 13 billion. There has been a massive spike in applications for incentives. There is a backlog, and we're trying our very best to deal with the backlog. The issue essentially is that it's not just about filling in a form and getting some money which could be spent by the MD on buying a new speedboat. It's about ensuring that the conditions for the incentives are actually met, and that what we say should be done with public money is done, which is raising competitiveness through investment in capital equipment, raising productivity and competitiveness levels, exports, transformation and empowerment, and so on and so forth. So the scale of the problem is very big. There is a problem. We're doing our very best to deal with it.
And all of those factors you mentioned, I mean, empowerment and competitiveness, I mean, they are all taking place. This drive is taking place within a reality where you have slow growth, manufacturing is under pressure, we have electricity challenges, business confidence is low. How do you reconcile the DTI's drive for industrialization with that sort of environment?
Well, you know, as I've said, there is a problem. We're trying our very best to deal with it. We're paying out billions of incentives every year. We're doing that successfully. Together with tax expenditure, government pays out in the region of 20 billion rand a year to manufacturing. That's a very big sum by anybody's standards. And as I said, it's not just about filling a form.
Yeah.
People have to visit the factory. There's got to be auditing. We've got to check that everything is in place. So it is a problem, and you know, we're doing our very best to sort it out. But you know, we should all be worried about the fact that there is deindustrialization happening in South Africa. It's happening for a range of reasons. Some of those are external, the global recession, the Chinese manufacturing miracle, and as you've said, electricity supply constraints and prices, the fact that our port charges are amongst the highest in the world, the enormous inefficiencies in ports and rail logistics, and so on and so forth. The question is not that there isn't a problem, the question is how do we work together, including with the private sector and labour, to address the problems in an outcomes-based approach so that we can successfully reindustrialise the country. And we can do so off a very good base. We have a world-class automotive sector with 1 billion rand a year incentives. We've not only saved the clothing and textile sector, it's now beginning to show very good signs of growth, including in exports, and so on and so forth. So there are problems. The critical question is not just to identify the problems, but to identify the solutions in a close working relationship with the private sector.
And just to conclude very quickly, I want to ask you in that regard, I mean, I see the DTI's drive to create what they call a black industrialist. Why not just industrialist, given the scale of our situation at the moment?
Well, I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. We one of the things we have to do with our incentives, up to now we've had an open architecture, so it's first come, first serve. But increasingly we are of the view that we need to ensure that this open architecture is geared towards, as other successful industrializers have done, to supporting winning companies,
I'm going to have
dynamic
to stop you off there.
winning companies.
We're running out of time. Thanks very much indeed, Gart Strachan, Deputy Director General at the DTI. Thanks indeed for coming.
Thank you.